The Vietnamese government is trying to pass a new law on religion that will separate the nation's many cults, authorized and unauthorized. The move illustrates the government's control over private cults and how it uses them for its own benefit. The worship of Tran Hung Dao, a legendary warrior turned saint, is a good example of the way the Vietnamese authorities use religious figures to push their nationalistic agenda. The cult of heroes government controls on religion have existed throughout Vietnamese history. Tensions over religion arose during communist rule, but, since 1986, along with economic and political reforms, the government has enhanced its legitimacy and power by approving popular cults, in the same way dynasties in the past did. Vietnam differs from other Southeast Asian countries in that there's a particular devotion to heroes in its political culture and religious system. Among the Kien, the main ethnic group in Vietnam, Buddhism, Taoism and Christianity have coexisted alongside traditional religions and beliefs that often involve hero cults. Cao Dai Temple in Tay Ninh, Vietnam. Welsh Annie/Wikimedia, CC by ND. This kind of worship grew and has remained strong because of Vietnam's history of invasions. Since 938, when the country freed itself from 1,000 years of rule from the Chinese, heroes from different eras, including from former feudal dynasties and the recent communist period, have been worshipped. These heroes are honored as saints or gods and are worshipped in temples and shrines. They form a sacred and spiritual bond between the past and the present. Although atheism dominated the country during the communist era, many still believe in the existence of souls. Heroes connect people to the world of the dead and of ancestors, which are a regular feature of local cults. According to French historian Benoit de Tréglode, more than 60% of the gods worshipped in rural areas and villages are those who once fought in wars to protect the country. These heroes' images have played an important role in maintaining power through various Vietnamese dynasties, each of which paid attention to building and maintaining temples to such heroes in order to secure the people's support. The making of a national hero among Vietnamese heroes, Tran Hung Dao is the most popular nationwide. He is regarded as a war hero from the 13th century Tran dynasty. According to legend, he successfully defeated invaders from the Mongol Empire. People developed a cult of Tran and propagated legends about his life. In the 20th century, he re-emerged as a symbol of resistance against French colonial power and then against Americans during the Vietnam War. Tran Hung Dao is the only figure in Vietnam to be the head of a wide religious sect that includes his family members and even his close army generals. People refer to him as Than, genie, Tan, deity. Ritual to the family of Tran in Cape Bok Temple. Th Huang, author provided trance powers soon became limitless. He would not only defeat enemies but also eliminate diseases and evil spirits. Ceremonies are conducted for pregnant women and newborn babies in his name, organized by mediums and their disciples, to cure diseases. The medium asks Saint Tran and the gods and his family to possess him. His cheeks are then pierced by steel sticks. He is suspended from a ceiling or stage until his face turns red enough to scare away evil spirits from the sick, and his tongue is slit to collect blood to make amulets against disease. A public ceremony in which mediums pierce themselves to scare away evil spirits. Political use of cults in the feudal period, the cult received royal support. But by the early 20th century, worship rituals and medium possession were considered superstitions by both Confucians and Vietnamese intellectuals and the practices were condemned. But the French colonial administration supported the cults to divert people's attention. During the 1986 Doi Moi reforms, which opened Vietnam to industrialization while retaining a protected economy, these practices became more prevalent than ever, pushed by a government that saw them as a powerful political tool to glorify the nation while opening it to new markets. Tran Hung Dao statue in Cape Bok Temple, Hai Duong. Th Huang. The worship of Saint Tran became widely accepted. Civil servants and high administration functionaries were invited to festivals and death anniversaries. Ancient pagodas, temples and shrines that had been closed during the hardline communist rule of the 1960s were reopened and restored. and people were able to visit worship places freely and purchase sacrificial and religious items, such as joss paper. Village festivals were held and people started to search for their lost ancestors' graves. These monuments, which were once considered feudal governors' ruling instruments, became national cultural heritage once more. Possession as intangible heritage? Today, Tran Hung Dao is present in many different forms in the daily lives of Vietnamese people. Roads and streets are named after him, sculptures grace parks and transport interchanges. Children learn about him in textbooks alongside stories of the Tran dynasty. And his places of worship have become tourist attractions. But the practice of medium possession is still a controversial topic and is not recognized by the authorities. Four palaces, the four spirits, of Vietnam beliefs have been translated into lively popular culture. Many argue that the cult of Saint Tran has become a part of Vietnam's national intangible heritage and goes with medium possession practices found in the religion of four palaces. In this Vietnamese cosmology, spirits, old and new, are governed by the mother goddess. Tran Hung Dao remains alive in Vietnam, but his powers are challenged by more recent heroes such as President Ho Chi Minh and General Vo Nguyen Giap, a military commander who led Vietnamese forces against the US and the French. Could Saint Tran be one day forgotten and replaced by other, more manageable nationalistic heroes? Let's block ads. Why?